about how I believe I'm the best person to take you on this training, if you're just joining us. And, you know, that's just about that, right? So moving in, how you can build a premium brand and attract resources and high network people. Now, this is, I think I'll say one of the best training on brand building that you undergo. And this will be part one of this training because we have another part two, right? So this will be part one of this training. I'll try my best to keep it as short as possible and give you as much value as possible, right? So when I say attract resources, resources can also mean people and money. People and money, not just money alone, because if you are building a brand, you need people to work for you, no matter what level you are. You don't really need money to have people to work with you. You need an idea that makes them know your direction. I want to be eager to work with you. An idea that amazes them too. That's what you need. And it's that idea that will attract high network people. And I'll be going through what I'm saying in a minute. But this is the whole purpose of the webinar. So on today's agenda, what we'll be covering is number one, the introduction. What is a brand? I'll ask you guys this question. I'll need like one or two persons to answer me quickly. What builds a brand? How to build a premium brand? And number five is how to build an unforgettable brand, because there's a difference, right? And number six is the ultimate brand identity. And then we'll have a Q&A session. And number two, part two of this training, which will be the second episode of this training, I'll show you practically doing some practical works, right? So that's just it. So before we get started, I want to ask one person what a brand is. If you just what a brand is to you, what is a brand? You know, when you hear brand, what does that mean? What is a brand, please? Just you can type it on the comments or you can speak if you want to. So what is a brand, please? I need you guys to engage with me. Okay, somebody's raising their hand. Please speak. If you're raising your hand, you can speak. Chicas.
All right. Good evening, coach. Good evening, fellow billionaires. Well, for me, I feel a brand is a company's identity, something you identify a business with. Once you see it, you can say, this is this business. That's for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Somebody said company's identity. Yes, Chica, that's a beautiful one. Somebody says Itu says, okay, so Billionaire Faisayo says what a company is identified with. Smile A says what you will recognized by. So from what I'm getting from you guys, your definition of a brand is basically, you know, what you can identify with, you know, the thing people know you for, your identity, that is a brand. That is a brand. All of you are correct. But I want to show you another definition of a brand, what a brand actually stands for. Because now we're not just building a brand, we're building a premium brand. There's a difference, right? So this is the introduction to our first part of this training, which I'll call branding like a king. Now, when you hear the word brand, it's mostly a name, you know, what you identify this company with, what you identify this person with. But brand is not actually a name, but a story. And I'll explain why in a minute. Because see, we're branding differently. We're not branding averagely. We're branding like kings. So that's why I put this picture, branding like a king, right? So a brand is not a name or a story. Now, it's a story that gives power to the name. So there's this part in the Bible, right? Mark 8:27 to 29, when Jesus Christ and the disciples were walking, around. And they asked him, Jesus asked the disciple, what do people say I am? So if you look at the first slide of this training, I said, who is the I am that I am? This is a question that most people have asked when they hear the story of Moses and the burning bush. Who is the I am that I say I am? You know, when Moses asked God, who do I tell Pharaoh sent me? He said, I am that I am. So that kind of question, like what is that name? What does it stand for? You get, that's how you know a brand. What is the name standing for? Because a name can be anything. You can have a name. You can give yourself a name. Your friends can give you a name. But what does that name stand for? It is a story behind that name that gives you the power of that name, right? I can mention any random name to you. That name doesn't mean anything. And that company might exist. I can mention a church to you. That church might exist, but you don't know what that church stands for. You don't know the story behind that church. I don't know if you're getting me. So the disciples answered Jesus, said, some say you are John the Baptist, some say you are Elijah. Then he asked them, who do you say I am? Then Peter responded, you are the Messiah. And that's when Jesus Christ said, heaven, it's only God that can reveal this to you. Even heaven and earth doesn't know this. Like, it's just God that can reveal this to you. So a brand is something that has to be revealed to people, and it's revealed through what? A story, right? You can identify people through different, you can identify people through different things. Like for example, they were able to identify, they were trying to compare Jesus to people that identify Jesus with. There's something I want to share with you guys. I'm trying to hide, but I will share it with you guys. It's in this conversation, right? There are things that they identify with these people that they have to compare Jesus with. So a brand is a story, right? So I want to use this illustration to prove something to you, that a brand is not just a name or something like you're like it's not just a name or mere words, but a story that's attached. So I'll first start with this. I'll ask you a simple question. So please, I want somebody to answer me, answer me, right? Somebody to answer me. In the Bible, who will you identify with a staff? You know, if I show you a staff and I say, who does a staff like show, like which Bible character do you think when you see the staff? Which Bible character do you think when you see a staff? I'm not talking about Jesus. So which Bible character do you see when you think about a staff? Which Bible character, please? Okay. Chika, please answer for us.
Moses.
Moses, awesome. Moses. Okay. Which other Bible character do you think about when you hear when you see coat of many colors?
Joseph.
Joseph. Well, how do you know it's Joseph? How do you know it's Moses? Is it because it's coat of many colors? We have seen rainbow before, rainbow is different. We have seen staffs in other people's hand. But why is it that you remember those people instantly? Like those are the first people that comes to your mind instantly. It is because of the story attached. The story attached to that item. It's the story that make you know about that particular item, that particular thing. See, all these things I showed here basically are like logos. These are brands. If I show you Nike, you know it's a shoe company. If I show you this Apple, you know it's iPhone. It is obvious, right? It's obvious because why, you know the story behind. There's a story behind that tells you more about a brand. It's easy for you to identify because you know the story. I don't know if you're getting me. There's a story attached to Moses leading the people through the wilderness, seeing the burning bush, dividing the Red Sea. There's a story attached to the coat of many colors. How the father gave his son coats of many colors because he loved his son so much, and how his brothers were jealous and sold him and also tore that coat and killed a sheep and rub his blood on it and say it's wolf that eats, or the wild dogs that ate their brother, right? I don't know if you're getting the image here. It is a story that gives power to that name. So when you hear Joseph, you remember the story instantly. If you are joking and you say, you look like Joseph in the Bible, the person remembers the story, not just the name alone. So I don't know if you're getting, the story gives power to that name. Without the story, the name is meaningless to people. So I want to ask you another question. Now we have used image to illustrate. I want to ask you another question. Who is the wisest man that ever lived? This is text. We're using text to. I want you to, if I ask you a question, who is the wisest man that ever lived? Somebody should just answer me. Solomon. Solomon. Awesome. Solomon. It's just easy. Solomon. People are saying so. Yes, Solomon. Solomon. You can see how easy it is. I don't even need to show you a picture. But once I tell you something about that person, the story behind that person, you instantly know. You might be able to identify that Solomon is the wisest man that ever lived because God blessed him, right? But there's a story attached. It's the story that made you know how God blessed Solomon, and Solomon became the wisest man. And because of that story, you do not forget Solomon's name. So are you seeing how story gives power to a name? And how a name can be meaningless without power. There are a lot of names that we mention in the Bible. If you look at the history of Jesus, there are a lot of names that we mention in the Bible. But the names we mention, the names we know are the names that have story attached to it. Now, I want to ask you a question that all of us do, and I want everybody to be active on the comments. Who made this statement? Okay, who is a town hall different from Balablu, Bulaba, Bulava? Who is that person? I want us to drop it on the comments. Who is that person? Say president. Who is? I want you to mention the name. Who is the person? Tinubu, yes, Tinubu. It's easy for us to know it's Tinubu, Jagaban, yes. It's easy for us to know Tinubu. Why? Because there's a story attached to that word. Because the word Bala Blue, Bulaba, a town or different is meaningless to us. But the story attached, how did that word come about? Yet how did that word form? I don't know if you're getting it. It's that story that attaches that make you cannot forget the word. A baby can say rubbish, you know, but it's the baby action that makes you remember that rubbish is said at that point that they were playing. Okay, so I want you to understand something. A brand is not just a name or a logo or an icon, but the story attached, the thing that makes you remember that particular name. That's just it. So I want us to know something. There's where I'm driving to. There's something I'm driving at. I want us to know how your story affects how people view you. Now, Proverbs 22:1 says a good name is better than riches. Let me quote the one that everybody knows. A good name is better than riches. That's from King Solomon. So your story is equal to your name. Your story is your brand. When people hear your story, what do they think about? When people hear your name, what comes to their mind? When people hear a name like Buhari, they were saying the name stands for a bad word, right? Why does it stand for a bad word? Because of the things Buhari have done to give him that name. The actions Buhari take to give him that name. The name Tinubu now is becoming a bad name because people don't love him because of the actions they have done to give themselves that name. So your name is a brand and your name affects how people see you. So when there's mention a particular name, how people react changes. So that's what you need to think about. So because of different actions make up a story, it's your actions that make up a story. And your story creates it creates attachment, it creates loyalty, it creates fans. Your story is your brand. You get if I share a story about how I started out in the internet business or the internet, how I struggled from grass and I went to grace, it's easy for you to remember me based on my story. Because there are a lot of people that do what I do. A lot of people that have online business, a lot of people that teach, a lot of people that do all this stuff. But you can identify me by my story. That's why we need to have stories. And it's a story that attracts opportunities to you. It's a story that brings opportunities to you. It's a story that brings favor from men and from God. Your story attracts favor from men and God. There are a lot of people that have blown over recent years on the internet based on they are selling pure water. Somebody saw them and okay, he likes the way they are speaking. For they become millionaires. But how did that person start? Story. When the person sees the person selling pure water, he's seeing a story behind that person. That's why they want to help that person. And that story carries a name. And that story, that name affects your future and your generations. I want us to see the importance of story here. The person blind Bartimaeus, his name is Bartimaeus, but we attach blind to him because why? The blind tells the story of him. But after he met Jesus Christ, he was no longer blind. But why do people still call him blind Bartimaeus? They are using the blindness to remember the story behind him. So you have to see there's a power with stories and how people perceive you. This is how people perceive you, your story, by the actions you take. That's how opportunities come your way, good and bad. That's the truth. So you have to be careful. You have to really, really be careful the story you put out there. When I mean story, I'll be explaining more in story. We're talking about business, but we're still talking about personality first. Because for it to be a brand, people buy the person than the company. People buy into people than a company. That's the honest truth. People buy into people more than a company. It's when a company has become so big, you forget the story behind it because other people have already bought into that story. Now they normalize it and people just buy things. A lot of people don't know how iPhone started, but if they say who made iPhone, Steve Jobs. A good example is Elon Musk, Tesla. Elon Musk, he founded. People buy into Elon Musk than Tesla. Tesla is a company, but people buy into it. So Elon Musk has a story. That's why people are buying into him. That's just it. Elon Musk has a story. He's a man that wants to do impossible things. That started from nothing and is doing the impossible things. And that's how a name can affect you in your generations. People can know you even when you have died just because of your story. We know blind Bartimaeus now because of his story, and that thing has stuck to him. The name blind has followed him all through till now, from 2,000 years ago till now. You can see how good and bad a story can be, and it can affect your whole brand, your identity. The story creates that whole identity of you. Do you want people? The question you should ask yourself now: do you want people to know you for something bad or something good? And um, that's why um, Proverbs said, the Bible said, the good name is better than riches because that good name attracts. The bad name repels. It also attracts to you too, if depend on what you are doing. You get so the name attracts you. So now the question is, how do you build your story? So what builds your story, rather? What builds your story? What builds your name? Like I said, action. So the first thing is what people see you do. Action speaks louder than words. The things you are doing online is what people will identify you instantly with. The things you are doing online. I recently started posting more things about church, not basically church, but Christ, Christian things. People started calling me pastor. This was a name that was identified to only, we Nigerians like to identify people that post godly things. Um, Pastor or Holy Mary. And I might not be that holy, but I just get fascinated by the Bible, how it teaches us in different perspectives, contents like Apostle Joshua Selman, I post his content, Apostle Femi Lazarus, those kind of content, I love it, I post it. So people identify me with those stuff. And action creates a perception about you. What you post more, what you talk about more, what you do more creates the identity. That's how your story is formed. That's just it. What you do more, your actions speak louder than your words. You can call yourself billionaire, this billionaire, that, but if you don't act like a billionaire, people always see you like somebody that's not a billionaire. That's the truth. But you might be broke, but your thinking, your thoughts, your action, the way you speak to people gives them that perception that this person will become rich one day. And they start calling you rich man, big man, big man. There are some people that call big man and whining, they just didn't whine you, but there are some people that legitimately they call big man because they see it in that person based on the kind of action they carry out. It's the same thing in your business. The kind of action you carry out, they see it too. If your business will go forward or will go down. And one thing I want you to know is that effort attracts favor. The more effort you put into something, even if you're struggling, people just want to help you. That's it. I don't know if you have seen that. If you see a child struggling to push something that is bigger than them, you just have this empathy, this sympathy, and you will just want to help the child. I don't know if it's true about you, but that's about me. It's a natural reaction. That's just one. That is how you build your story, your name, your identity. Right? That's how you start it. Now, another thing that builds your story is how well you keep to your promises. Your word is your bond, your trustworthiness. What's this green thing showing? Your trustworthiness is what keeps your, is what builds your brand. What do people know you for? You know, if you say you will come at 8 p.m., will you come at 8 p.m.? Or will they call you? And the moment you start coming, you fail once, you don't come at 8 p.m. one time, second time, third time, they attach your name, they attach a name identity to you, which is late comer. It's always they come late. You can't ever trust him for this, you can't ever trust her for this. You get, so it affects anything you want to do, that thing affects it too. Your word, your word is your bound, right? If I want to give somebody an opportunity, I will look at the actions they are taking around how they keep to their word. Because there's a difference between somebody that comes late and somebody that tells you that they are going to come late, or that keeps you informed, that communicates with you. You trust the person that communicates with you more than the person that doesn't communicate with you. If I'm going to meet somebody and I tell the person I'll be there at 9 p.m. and something comes up and I message that person, oh, sorry, I can't really, I'm going to be late, 10 minutes late. You know, I clearly communicate. The person trusts you more because he sees that from your actions, you show responsibility, you show consistency, you show that you value their time and you value them. And even if you come late, they respect you. They say, oh, it's fine, it's normal. Why? Because you have communicated. And in the future, they will trust you. They can even send somebody away, say, go and meet this person, he will show you this apartment. You can get houses from this person. Why? Because they know you keep to your word just by your simple actions. I don't know if you guys are getting it. Is this thing making sense to you? I want to ask a question. Is there anybody in your life, or if it's you yourself, that you know that don't keep to time? Like you can specifically say this person a late comer, or you can say this person not they read at all if na exam. You can identify this person with one particular thing that like procrastination. Is there any person you can just react to? Let me know if there's anybody you can think of. If it's you, that na me. I know say na me they do this thing. Someone say my sister. And if I ask your sister now, what does she knows you for? She will tell me something too. You get, so now you see that yes, so she can procrastinate. Now you see that your words also speak for you. It helps you. And then your attitude is another factor. Your attitude, what you say, what you post, the way you talk, the things you do, your character, those are brands. Those are things that work for you even before you become a billionaire, millionaire. Even when you're having office meetings, those are things that work for you. They can work for you, they can work against you. That's the truth about it. People are not conscious about what they post online. People are not really conscious about it. What you post online creates a perception about you. If you keep on posting things about poverty, complaining economy, or if you're a girl and you keep begging, you know, take me out, who will take me out, who will do this for me, who will do this for me, who will do that for me. The identity that people attach to is desperation, poverty, lack of home training. You are just desperate about money, you love money too much, and people accept. You might say it's a meme, or you might say it's cruise, you might say it's for fun and jokes, but do not insult yourself in the process of making other people laugh. That's something that a lot of people do, and you have to be intentional. If you're, I'm talking about a premium brand. I'm not talking about any random brand. You can go and learn branding from anywhere, but I'm talking about a brand that attracts high quality people. You have to be careful of what you post. I don't know if this makes sense. You have to be careful about what you post. Really careful about what you post because those things attach different perception about you. People will always judge based on what they see. People are not God. So online is based on what you post. Offline is based on how you talk, what you wear, how you walk. That's just the truth. People always judge you based on what you post online. And that's why intentionality and diligence comes in. Intentionality, what are you intentional about posting? You have to be intentional about what you post. Even if it's funny, it has to be intentional. There's some things I find funny, I watch it, but I don't post it. But there's some things I find funny, I post it. You have to be intentional about the perception people create about it. It's better to be broke because broke is a state. Broke is a, let's say, okay, broke is a state. Poverty is a, okay, broke is a situation. Poverty is a state and and a condition, like an illness. It's better to be broke and you are posting things that elevate your perception, and people call you big man, big sis, billionaire, CEO, this and that, than to be the person begging, begging, begging 247. People, your account balance and your identity is just the same. Because you can be broke financially, but your mind is filled with wealth. There's something that is trending right now. This guy that was reigning, Dr. H2O, was a popular guy. He was doing this advertising pure water. He was hawking pure water on the road, right? He was hawking pure water on the road, and somebody saw him. They gave him money, and right now he has gone broke. He has zero money in his account. He's saying his witches and wizards that are affecting, that attack him. They gave him about 8 million. They gave him a store. They gave him keke to carry water. They fill the store with water, everything. Now he's broken under a space of 1 year. Now that kind of person, it is not the money that make you wealth. It is the mind, the state of the mind. Because he literally had nothing. He doesn't have a mentor. Doesn't have somebody that has done that stuff before. That has that kind of business. He doesn't have any of those stuff. They just gave him money. I don't know if you have seen how money can. It's not money that makes you what. It is the state of your mind. That's the truth. What you are here for right now is changing your mind and perspective. Because if you don't have anything on your head, how can you multiply when they give you something? 1 times 0 is 0. Simple math. 1 times 0 is 0. So if I give you 100 million and you have nothing, you give me back 0 because you don't know how to multiply, you don't know how to produce it, you don't know how to do anything. But if you have the right people around you, the right mentality, the wisdom around, if somebody gives you 8 million, the first thing you do is go and seek for advice. You go and find a mentor, or you find somebody that's done that thing you're doing and ask, okay, how can I do what you are doing and do it better? What are the mistakes? What should I do? What should I invest in? What should I avoid? That's why we're in this kind of community. Gets. So those are the things that make you. So you have to be intentional about even education, learning things. I don't know if this is making sense to you guys. You read? So it's your intentionality and your diligence that actually create things for you, that create that name for you. Proverbs 22:29 says, show me a man diligence in his works, he will stand before kings and men. Your diligence will make people, even when you're not there, they'll speak about you, for you. It's your diligence that will show if people speak for you and against you. It's your diligence that will show if people speak for you and against you. There's the diligence and the way you are, the intentionality, the way you are. People can say, if you do this kind of thing, and if you do this kind of thing, you get. So people might say, I know my screen is not showing right now, it's the network, but just listen to my voice. And people can say, if somebody says, you can scam or they lie against you, right? It's the kind of perception you have created about yourself that will make people. Can you guys hear me, please?
Yes, so can hear you.
Okay, 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 awesome. So is the kind of perception that you create about yourself that make people say what believe if you can do a certain thing. Because when you create a perception about yourself, people can say no, you cannot do this stuff, even if you did it too, but just because there's an identity attached, the intentionality and diligence behind it, that is what creates that perception, right? That's what creates that perception and that identity. All right. I don't know. Let me share my screen again. Stop. Right. Can you guys see my screen, please?
Not yet. Okay. It's all about only showing
Okay,
your
can you see it
picture.
now?
Okay, it's coming. Yes.
Okay, I think it's network. Um, it's still showing, right? This the presentation I'm doing. Is a presentation showing, please?
Yes, what build your story?
Like I'm asking, is the presentation showing?
It's showing what built your story.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So this is the next slide. Can you see it? Find your story identity. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right, all right. Okay, awesome. So right now I've talked about what builds your story, right? A recap is your actions, your trustworthiness, all those stuff, your diligence, your intentionality. If you are not intentional about your brand, people, if you are not intentional about your brand, right? People will um, people will create the identity for you, right? That's why you have to be intentional about your brand. So recap again, what people see, your action speaks louder than your word. These are what build your story, right? So and the way you keep your promises, you have to be this particular one. I know I'm emphasizing on it too, because a lot of people don't really keep their word, right? If they say I'll call you back, they'll not call you back. If they say uh, I want to call you tomorrow, by this time they'll not call you. I'm talking about somebody that just joined the call. All right, so let's just head over. So all right. So find your story, find your story, your identity. Who do people say you are? That is one thing I want us to do right now. So it's important for your business. Who do people say you are? So when Moses asked Jesus, sorry, when Moses asked God, who do I tell Pharaoh that I am? He said, I am that I am. So that's a very big and broad word. So how do you identify somebody? My name is very weird. There are a lot of weird names around. You know, Nike is a weird name. How do you identify somebody? How do you identify your business? How do people identify it? Because there are a lot of business name, there are a lot of churches with different name. It is that story. So you have to find your identity. First, to find your identity in your business, you have to first find your identity in yourself. It's your story that starts your business. It's you that started that business. So it's your business that owns that story. So you have to identify yourself. Who does God say you are, first of all? What is your purpose? What is your business purpose? What does it do? What do you do? How did you start? Those are things that I use to identify yourself and business. And I'm going to show you why it's important. So if you identify your story, like with your story, you're able to discover number one, your unique selling points. Because a lot of people do what you do, a lot of people do what I do, like I said before. How do you stand out? What makes you different from the rest? You know, what makes you different from the rest? It's how you started out. That is it. That's just it, how you started out. That what make you different from the rest. You get, if you're able to figure out how you started out, like your brand, how do you start this brand? What are the things you went through? You have to be able to share these things with your employees, your audience, because you're going online. There are things that will attract people to you because, like I said, there are a lot of people doing what you are doing. There are a lot of people selling what you are selling. There are a lot of people saying what you are saying. So how do you identify yourself? Everybody's unique, just as your parts are different. Those same as your faces. So everybody's different. What makes you stand out? How do you start out? You have to first identify that. And with that, you can now have your brand message and your guidelines. There's some stand for, there's some things you don't stand for, some things you do. Your messaging style identifies your story too. Like works with your story. Let me recorrect that. Works with your story. If I started out as somebody that just started social media because I wanted to do fun things, my story would be based on my messaging to my audience would just be something comedic, something fun, something jovial, something easy. But if I started social media for my business because I was struggling a lot, I was having difficulties in finance or growing my business, my story starts out that way. Same with my brand message that every content I put out follow this approach. Every style I put, I follow this approach. That's just it. One thing about me is that I have a talent and a gift for making mistakes when writing things. And I don't let that stop me. I don't let that stop me, rather. I tell people, don't let your defects stop you from achieving your dreams. When I write things, people easily identify, oh, you made mistake here, you made mistake here. It's okay. I'm even happy you can identify the mistake. It shows me that you also see that I'm not perfect. Nothing about me is perfect, but I'm still making efforts. Don't ever getting me. It affects your style of approach, your style of content. There are this kind of content that's trending now, talking head videos, whereby you video your face, you talk, you give a lot, you talk about your business or what you do. But each company, each person, each brand, each person doing different things have different approach to that kind of video, right? I might start funny because that's my character. I might start serious. I might start with a sad story. But people will identify me based on this kind of content. This guy, Aproko Doctor, right? We all know him, Aproko Doctor. He always starts with something to make you afraid, about health and different stuff. And it starts in a comedic way. You can easily identify. You get some people is their voice. Some people is just it affects your marketing and your approach. You have to find this stuff if you want to identify. If you want to, I mean, stand out in the marketplace. You have to find this stuff. I have to discover yourself through your story. I want you guys after this class go back, ask yourself how you started out, what you struggle with, what makes you different from people, because it's all this stuff will determine the kind of people you attract to yourself. You want to be attracting genuine and authentic people that are loyal to you, that buy your products, that buy your services, that buy into you, because people buy into you, they don't just buy into your company. I rather buy when some people come to a business, they want to speak to the CEO. Why? They believe it's the CEO that owns the business, that not starts. When issues are happening, those even issues are happening in the bank, people will be like, I want to speak with the bank manager. I want to speak with the bank manager. Why? They believe that the bank manager knows what it takes to keep a customer, knows what it takes to emphasize with me, know what it takes to, connect with me. That's just it. So the same thing in your business or your brand, whatever you're doing, personal or business, find that unique selling point. It works in your marketing, sorry, in your approach, in your business, in what you tell your employees, what you stand for, and what nonsense you don't take. God on his own has a brand identity. He gets devil on his own has a brand identity. It's people that don't have a brand identity that copy a lot. It's okay to take inspiration, but copying is not like, do it in your style. That's just the best way. So your story, I was talking about building your story. Your story, with your story, you're able to identify you. Some people just join us, so I want to like go a bit back. I'll come in, please bear with me, right? So I was telling others about stories, right? And now you can identify people based on story, not just things. So I started out with the staff, right? So the staff, if you say staff, if I tell you who does the staff represent in the Bible, you will tell me Moses. Like who does when you think about a staff, who comes to your mind? Moses. But Moses is not a staff. But because of the story, Moses has like you're able to identify him with the staff. He used the staff to divide the Red Sea. He met God in the burning bush with the burning bush, and God told him to cast your staff down. Is the staff, all that stuff. Coat of many colors. Who would you identify it with? Joseph. Same thing. Now I don't even need images again. I need words. If I say who is the wisest man that ever lived, I don't even mention the Bible, but everybody mentions Solomon. And I used Tinubu as example. I said, who made this statement in town hall different with blah 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 blah. Everybody said Tinubu, the president. It's easy to identify things, icons, different things based on the story. If I show you a cross, you can know it's Christianity. But it's the story that gives power to the name. It's the story behind that image, that icon you are seeing that gives power. Without that story, that thing is forgettable. There are a lot of trees. We have mango tree, we have pawpaw, we have other stuff. But there are trees that we Christians remember. We have fig tree. Why is the fig tree so important? The story of the fig tree. We have, there are a lot of things, but that's just it. So that's where we are now. And that's why you need to find your story in order for people to identify you. So who do people say you are? I want you to go online as a business person or as a person, ask people, what do you think about me? There's this anonymous thing. What do you think? Ask close friends. Let them be honest with you. What do you think about me? Like, if somebody was to say, introduce me to you, what will you say? What are the things you say? What are my faults? What are my that's those first words, what would they say? Will tell you how they perceive it. If a lot of people are saying a particular thing about you and always complain a particular thing about you, know that is something wrong that you need to correct. That thing has been attached to your identity. You need to fix it. So let's head over. So I think I've passed this part, right? Okay. So um your story should be what your story should be. Now we are building a brand, a premium brand. That is the whole goal of this training. So if you are just joining us, recording will be available, right? So I'm recording right now. So your story, you want to build a story for your brand or your persona or yourself. Your story should be relatable. Please meet yourself, Andrew, please. I should just meet you, please. Okay. Your story should be relatable. When I mean relatable, something that people can relate with. Whether you're starting from a rich background and you're doing things, it should be something that your people, your audience should relate with. And stories too can be used in marketing. When you're trying to market, it should be something people can relate with. You get something. Jesus Christ used stories a lot to teach why it's relatable. He will say the kingdom of God is like a man who has a farm and rented it out to a group of farmers to who has a land and rented out to a group of farmers to plant things. Those words is using are things that you see every day to day, right? So your story should be relatable. Now, your story should be legendary. It should be what people wish their own story was. I'm talking about premium brand, not any other brand. Something that people wish they had or they were. So if you started out your business, right, you can say I'm starting out. Let me give an example of somebody that just started out their business online. On your profile, Facebook profile, let's say you start a tailoring business, you can say um, starting out a tailoring business from scratch with zero income, zero money, but building it to be a global sensation. That is your legendary story. And people will start following because they want to see the outcome of this stuff. What will happen? It's something they wish they have. So when they see your progress, they're like amazed, amazed. One thing you should never do is you can get discouraged, but don't quit. Don't quit when you're building something that will help a lot of people. Don't quit, right? There are a lot of my friends, good friends, but they discouraged me when I started out all this stuff. They told me what I do. All this thing doesn't make sense. Just wait till you have big money. But where will the big money come from? You have to start somewhere. But do you know that anytime I go out with these my friends, we are just out hanging around, chilling, they'll tell me that I'm an inspiration to them. And I'll be like, how am I an inspiration to you? I've not been that their father insulted. So their father insulted. So that's just it. So that idea, that persona, that image is on their head. It's on their head. So that story should be legendary. So ask yourself, how can I make my story legendary? And this is why I go back to your story should be true. It should be about you, how you started out. A lot of us in Nigeria are struggling. That's the honest truth. Especially us that don't come from a wealthy background, they're struggling. But if you come from a wealthy background, you also have a struggle. If you are pretty, you have a struggle. What is the struggle of pretty people? People perceive your life to be. Please meet yourself, please. Um, I mean, it's okay. People perceive your life to be easy, a lot of attraction, this and that. That is your story. So that thing affects how people view you, how people offer you help, and how people act towards you. People become insulting. They say because you find this if you do anyhow. Same thing with people. They say because your papa get money, if you say if you do, and not they might not know that person deep down. They might not know that person's story, right? So you can con your story in that way, make your story legendary. And if you don't have a story, you are starting your business. I want to show you something. Let's say you're starting out, how you can use someone else's story if you don't have one to push your business, your brand to the next level. I shared my LinkedIn account with you guys, and how I did a training, and 170 people attended that training, right? And I started this LinkedIn, so just joining. I'm just sharing with you guys how 180 people started this training, right? But how did I attract these people? How did I get these people? These are people in the UK, based in the UK. They don't know me from nowhere. They are following me, they're connecting with me, they're engaging with me. Well, sorry about that. So I want to share you guys something. They're engaging with me, they're following me, and they connect with me. I have lots of messages, I have lots of appointments and other stuff. How are all these people coming to meet me? What is it that I'm doing? Because these guys don't know me. What is it that I'm pushing out that is attracting them to me? That they're messaging me, they're sending me invites, they want to work with me. Some just want to speak to you. Some people just want to connect. Even Nigerians basically are connected with me, following me. And when I talked about not giving up, it's something amazing. Do you know that I've been doing this business for over a year? I almost gave up. I started with Facebook. Before I came to LinkedIn, I almost gave up. I've been insulted, other stuff. But I didn't give up. But I didn't know that somebody was watching me, right? There was a guy I interacted with, and he was watching me, everything I was doing on LinkedIn. And he actually used my profile on LinkedIn and everything I've been consistent doing to train other people. And then he invited me in a training recently whereby I taught about 100 freelancers doing basically what I do recently. That was about a week ago, last week Friday, on this same thing. And just because of what I was doing. So what is attracting them to me? It is this stuff I'm putting out here. These are testimonies of people. These are their own story and their own experiences working with me. Remember, I said stories are actionable steps. Their own experiences working with me. You are building a brand, you're building a business, you need to be taking testimonials, reviews. What are people saying? Even if you are just starting out, let people use your product or service. Let them say something about it. Let them tell you what they think about it. Let them say something about it. Okay, what are people saying about you? What are people saying about you? It's on this point. It's because of what people say about you that raises your status in the eyes of other people. The foreigners that are connecting with me don't know I'm a Nigerian. It's on the call they later know. They don't know if I'm broke. They don't know how much is in my account. But because of the perception I've created, because I'm using other people's story, I don't have a story on LinkedIn yet, but I'm using other people's story. That thing attracts them. That review, those things attracts them. They cannot forget me. That's just the truth. I don't know if you guys are getting this stuff. So it increases the value. So when I will explain something later on, but because of that perception people have around me, when I call an amount, we negotiate instead of too much now for waiting. The reason why people are questioning your price when you call price is because they are not viewing you like the way people who have already used your product are viewing you or your services. So you need to collect reviews from those people that have used your product or services. If they have not used, give it to people, do it for free, let them use it. And once you get the reviews, once you have it there, when people reach out to you, they know that you are serious, you have reviews, you have results. And when they are speaking to you and you call a price for them, they negotiate instead of undermine what you give. There's a saying, you know what I speak is good. You know what I speak is good when you always undermine. You don't want people to undermine what you speak. So you have to make it good. You have to show them the good part of it. People don't go to a canned water can be sold in normal store for 200 naira. In ShopRite for or the mall for 1,000 naira, in a lounge, a fancy lounge for 2,000 naira. That same can water, what is the difference? It is the story behind it, the building behind it, the brand behind it, but the same kind of water. So your story should be relatable, be legendary, be true. If you don't have used somebody else's own, your story should be your vision. You should, if you don't have a story right now, you can tell them what you are going for, what you are planning to do, what you are becoming. That should be your story. God even uses story. God tells us what will happen later on if you assign yourself to Him. Get what can you do for people? Get that is also your story. Your story should increase your status in the eyes of people, and that's how you build an unforgettable brand that people cannot forget. So I'm saying a lot here. Just jot down, go through this over again, right? So now we have learned about stories. We learned about the basic foundation of everything. So now premium brand, which is the main thing we came here for. Actionable steps, how to build a premium brand. So I want you guys to jot this down. But so far, if this class has been informative and educative, just send me a reaction, send me a comment. Let me know if you're following me or I'm just been talking since. Can you guys hear me, please? Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Unforgettable. There's one somebody. Anyhow, Sha. Let's just head over. All right. So, how do you build a premium brand? I'm talking about building a brand like a king, right? Heading over to our first slide, building a brand like a king. This is the main thing. Branding like a king. How do you build a brand like a king? How do you do that? This is where we have heard to after minutes of speaking. This is the main thing. Now, to build a brand like a king, we look at Matthew 23, 11 to 15. And basically, um, what that passage spoke about, the story behind it was when the disciples were asking themselves who is the greatest among us. They were trying to weigh themselves. And those guys said, he brought a child. He said, the greatest among you is like a child, right? The greatest among you is the least, the one who will serve other people, who will not be like a lord, a master to other people. In Genesis 1, when God commanded man, right, he showed man what to do, your purpose on earth. He said, um, have dominion. He told man what he can have dominion over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, every creeping thing on the earth, have dominion over, subdue, have dominion over. But he never mentioned men. He never mentioned man to have dominion over man. What was God trying to tell us is that whatever we do, whatever we build, should serve other people. Your focus should be on helping people. Say, seek first the kingdom of God and every other thing be added to you. The greatest commandment is love. What is the kingdom of God? Is another topic for another day. But basically, what God is trying to tell you, to establish dominion, to establish reign, to subdue, to overcome, you must first serve people. The purpose on earth is to serve, is to honor God and to serve people, to glorify God. Everything on earth was made to glorify Him. It's in the Bible. You were made to glorify Him. You were made on earth to serve other people. Adam's first job was service. Eve was to serve. Everything humanity is to serve people. Husband and wife serve. Everything. The church serve. We are all serve. And I'll tell you something in a minute. If you focus on helping people solve their problem, you'll make money. Like you'll make way more money than you can imagine. As I'm teaching you, I'm helping you, I'm serving you, but there are a lot of people that are looking at me now in another way, in another tune, that they want to work with me. I'm sure it's what happens in most of my training. That's the kind of effect I create because I'm here to serve. I'm doing this stuff for free. I'm sweating. I bought fuel, everything here to serve people, but I'm creating an identity for myself. The people you follow online, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, why are you following them? Because they are creating content that attracts you, free content that are valuable. If you have a business, you have a personal brand, start creating educative content, valuable content. That is how you serve people. I'm not saying be a servant. I'm saying serve, be of service to people. Serve people. Give people things free that they don't believe that you give people things free too much that like they are amazed and they'll be like, if this person can give me this stuff free, that means what this person have more is too much. That's why God gave us everything free. And when we come to Him, we receive more, right? Free things like free advice, free inspiration, free motivation. What are they struggling most in regards of your using your product or your service? If it's real estate, what are people struggling most? Land theft, land fraud. Create content around it. If it's clothing, what are people struggling most? Fashion, how to use color, how to use combination, what to wear in the economic crisis. Create content around it. If it's jewelries, what kind of jewelries to wear? The same thing this Apricot doctor is in, creating content on health to help people. And before you know, investment deals are coming in. You see him on billboards, you see him on, those are the things. It is those focus, it's when you focus on helping people, wealth comes to you. That is the principal thing. That's how you make it. That is the number one principle. Focus. You should have empathy. Put yourself in other people's shoes. People that want to buy a product, what would they experience? Put yourself in their shoes. You get what are the questions they'll ask? What are the issues? What are the burdens? What are the FAQs? What are those things they'll have? Put yourself in this. Train your employees to have this mindset too. Be kind, be respectful. People will always come out to business that are respectful, even if their price is high. And then again, when somebody asks you what you do, reply with how you help people. Basically, reply what you help people do. On my LinkedIn, I said I help people do this and that. I teach my students too what to put. If I'm a tailor, I can say I help people create amazing designs with quality materials at affordable rates in less than 7 days. That is the best brand introduction ever. I state everything I help you do and how I do it. If it's medicine, let's say I'm a neurosurgeon, I can say I help bring joy to family. Or I help bring joy to families by solving, by solving problems, by solving brain problems, by doing in an affordable way instead of them taking their kids abroad. I help them do this stuff. It's just the way you put it. So if somebody asks you, what do you do? Say, I help this, do that. I help people do this action, to, please just give me a second. All right. I help people do this action to get these results in what amount of time. If your business is restricted to time, let them know. So that is the main framework. If somebody asks you, what do you do? That's just it. So then again, the last one is keeping quality no matter the economy. How you build a premium brand. You keep quality no matter the economy. I'm not talking about any other brand or premium brand. So it's better you increase your price than you reduce the quality of what you're offering. It's better you keep your price, then you increase the price up, then reduce the quality of what you're doing. That's just it. And this economy has shown, I know what I'm saying is counterintuitive. Some people might not say, I might reduce price for other people. If what you're selling is a premium thing, if what you're offering is something premium, or your target audience is premium, you can create different price points for different economic classes, different standard of living. If it's middle class, if it's poor, you can create, but if it's high net worth people you want, create high net worth price for them. I'm not saying overcharge beyond, something, but let it be something that them themselves want to negotiate over with you. You get. This economy has showed that it's better. There's something I wrote here. You lose more customers quickly when you reduce the quality of things. That's true. When you reduce your customer service, the way you talk to people, the way you approach people, because they're not paying you more, start treating them anyhow, you lose customers quickly. But when you increase your price, yes, you lose customers, but you retain quality customers and you make more money. That's the truth. When fuel increased, people still buy fuel. Right? It's a necessity. Fuel is a necessity. I'm using fuel as an example, but let me use clothes as an example. People will see so suit of 100,000 because it's quality. Though they will do it a one-time thing, but they have where they are heading to. And you make money. That 100K, you have made the money, but you give them quality. Another cost, they will recommend another customer of the same caliber when they go to meetings. They can wear 100K suit to a meeting that they'll meet people that will give them 2 billion, 20 million, 300 million. And people ask them, this is your suit. Who saw it for you? They will give them your number. I don't know if you're getting the flow here. Even your products, when they test, let's say you make juice, zobo, and those stuff, have quality for people that can afford it, have premium quality for more expensive buyers. And then when they test, they'll say, let me taste that thing I drink. And I drink it, they'll say, who gave you this stuff? Gave you this stuff? Like, who made this stuff? They'll be like, oh, it's this person. Send me their number. Before you know, you're supplying to a bank. Before you know, they're hosting an event. It is your Zobo they want. It is your juice they want. That is it. That is just it. So always maintain quality in hard economic times when you are dealing with premium things. Again, another thing, packaging matters. Packaging matters. The way you package your customer experience from when they approach you online, the way you respond, the way your brand identity is, the way you talk, the way your customer service talk. You know, you might be a one-man business and somebody will say, please, I want to do this stuff with you. Say, oh, let me, I will send my team to do it. You get, when they hear the word team, they'll be like, wow, this person, has a team. You get, it's a wow experience. The way you use your bags, let's say you sew, I'm using tailor, I don't know why, I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm using tailor reference. Maybe it's God speaking to you. You get, when you sew, how do you package your clothes to give your customer? How do you package it? Do you have a custom bag that has your logo? When you approach people, do you have a business card? All those things. Your good service also speaks for you. Your service will make people come to you. Your service is a good name. So those are the things, right? Then your appearance too is very important. How you dress, how you present yourself is important. Your appearance is another figure that speaks for your brand. If you're not dressing well, you're not smelling nice, you can be gifted also, but your body is not gifted. Your odor is not gifted odor. You get, I have a amazing friend that has a business, but when you enter that business place, the smell is unbearable. And fear not, they let me tell him. I don't know how I would tell him, but it's something that not only me knows, but other people identify. But the guy is good, but that thing has drove a lot of people away. But when you start telling them all this stuff, you look like insults. So you have to look at the person. Can I approach this person? That's why character is still important too. So your character still brings favor to you, because just one advice from somebody based on if your character is good and nice, and the person is able to approach you and tell you an advice, that thing will change your business, like unimaginable. So and also good business environment is also important in packaging. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes if you have the decision, make decision to choose a good environment. I'm not talking about location. I'm talking about the appearance of the place. Paint your place well. If you see me have a wallpaper, you get, do something well in your environment, because you are speaking to a high caliber of people. It's how they look at you, it's how they will address you. You get, how you present yourself, how you be addressed. That's the truth. If you're having Zoom meetings, let your background be nice. Have a good webcam. Speak well, talk well, dress well. Wear wash, even if nights, even if you wear boxer under, wear watch. And the title where they do Zoom meetings with white people, they're not, they know. But I will dress nice, get presentable. Don't overdo, but just do enough to look good. That's it. And when you look good, you have confidence to speak more. Then the last one is brand yourself, use reviews, brand your social media accounts, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever, your WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp, is everything is branded. I tell them what I do, how I help them do it. Good profile picture, good banner image. These are things that you cannot remove because these are important things. Then use reviews and testimonials. Those things attract people. It reduce pricing, negotiation, many talk. It reduces all those stuff. You get. And like I said, if you don't have testimonials, work for free or ask people to review your product or service for you, and you get it. I encourage you to have video testimonials or written testimonials. It's important. It's really important. Trust is important online. Have those things. Please have those things. All right. So premium branding, right? Overall, premium branding determines revenue and pricing. The way you position yourself, the way you look like, determine the kind of money you can call, the kind of money you can negotiate on, the kind of people you attract. That's the truth. So that's just the truth about it. So I don't want to talk much about it. So I went this class finally. Before we go to series 2, we'll be on the practical. I'll be showing you how to brand your social media, how to position everything. But now, the ultimate brand identity. Who has the ultimate brand identity? And how, as this person, I want to show you everything I've been saying here, right? From day one, relatable, legendary, true, vision, um, service, packaging, quality, brand reviews, how the main guy, the King of Kings, has the ultimate brand. When it comes to God, Christianity has so many testimonies. Every day in churches around the world, there's testimonies. God has reviews. Am I making sense? God has reviews. God has testimonies. Please let me know if you understand what I'm saying. God has reviews. God has testimony. I don't know if you are saying God said they get reviews and testimony. God, they do signs and wonders. That's the truth. So why aren't you having reviews in your business? In church, they'll say testimony time. They'll come and give testimony. You encourage people, they'll come. In your own business, what is the testimony time? Get what is it? You don't have it. You are missing out. Testimony change the mood of the church. One person's testimony can make the church be happy till the end. They don't even care if the service is 1 hour. You get. So the King of Kings is brand, right? Let's look at what he did. A God came in form of a man, came from the poorest background, worked like us for years, suffered, ate, and talked like us. A God with all the power in the world. He lived and served. He lived and served. He offered service. He gave himself as a living sacrifice. He was sold, he was persecuted, and he died for us. Right? And through this service, he became the greatest, the most wealthiest, the most powerful, and the greatest name that ever existed. This is how you build a brand identity. Jesus is the real brand identity. If you build yourself like Jesus did, you build your brand like Jesus did, you will become the greatest, the most wealthiest, and the most powerful, the most famous in whatever you're doing. So this is how you build the ultimate brand, just like the King of Kings. So this is the end of our class. We have come to the end, and I'm talking for an hour, a bit 2 hours now. So this is it. So thank you so much for being here with me, sticking to the end. So this is the end of it. Yeah. So let me know if I tried in this class. Let me know. All right. So you guys can speak up now. I think we have a Q&A session now. All right. So Q. Somebody say I'll try. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me and being with me. Thank you. It's not easy to be here with me. All right. Thank you so much. So this is the ultimate brand identity. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. So if anybody has a question, please. If you have a question, let me know. Okay, okay. Let me call Chika first. Okay, Chika. Then I'll be looking at the rest people.
Yeah,
Right,
for
Chika,
now, I
please.
don't think I have any question for now.
Okay, okay, okay. Let me. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. Right. So, Godwin
Hello,
Christopher,
can you hear
please.
me?
Yes. I've heard you. I said okay. Right, Godwin Christopher, please go on. Okay, Esther. Esther, please. If you have a question, please speak.
Okay, good evening, Cyprian. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, can you?
Okay, yes. Though I came in halfway, it was really a great one. Really got a whole lot of value from that. My question is, okay, at a point I know you did make mention of educating audience clients